The Circuit Rally Championship got underway again. Winter rallying is back for a new season, and with a new sponsor on board in the form of Protyre. And as usual, the crews would descend on Oulton Park for the Salford Van Hire Neil Howard stages for the opening round. There'd be some new and returning challengers on the entry. Some of those new faces being James Ford and Neil Shanks, who lead the way over the morning's stages to take an advantage of 10 seconds going into the midday service. It could have been more, but they do get a 10-second penalty for hitting a chicane. Reigning champions Michael Igoe and Will Atkins are back to defend that title, and it was going well so far. They were second place overall at this stage, but that didn't matter as far as the championship was concerned. James Ford not registered for points at this opening round. One crew who certainly do matter as far as the championship is concerned and are registered for points though are John and Alex Stone. And they were going well over the morning stages in the Polo GTI R5 to end stage 4 in third place overall. They were only 33 seconds back from Igoe at this stage too. Former champions John Griffiths and Emma Morrison returned to the series this season to try and claim that #1 spot again after missing out to Igoe last season. They come armed with a new car as well for the season, this lovely Skoda Fabia, and they would be hoping that it is an improvement over the Fiesta R5 that took them to second overall last season. Ryan Burns and Harry Walshaw, meanwhile, have limited experience in the Rally 2 Fiesta, coming from the Corsa at the start of 2024 and competing on just a small number of events so far this season. They were going well. They end the morning in 5th. The rapid Darien pair, Joshua and Tamsin Davey, were back for another go at the title in Class D. They were never going to be the fastest around a slippery rally school stage or the gravel sections, but they were pushing hard on the rest of the circuit parts of the stage where they could. 6th place to end the morning. We saw Kyron Hankin and James Swallow switch to the Citroen towards the end of last season, and the pair had a number of rallies now under their belts between them. Now time to get used to the car's potential. They were putting in some good times to lie in 7th. And sticking close to them on the leaderboard were Mike and Lewis English. They were 12 seconds back from Hankin, but 10 of those were a penalty for cutting the course when they passed a fellow crew in frustration on the rally school section of the stage. The first of the Class C crews on the results would be Will Owen and Chloe Thomas. This pair always pedalling the Escort well, so it's no surprise to see them inside the top 10 overall in 9th. The times throughout the leaderboard were all very close as well, setting up a thrilling afternoon for that top 10 battle. And rounding out the top 10 were Adrian Spencer and Mark Hewitt. The Subaru pair also leading the way in Class B as well with that position in their WRC replica Impreza. We go a few positions further back overall to find the next crew in the class. Billy Grew and Ben Tomlinson in the Evo. They were in 14th place overall, but there were still only a few seconds in the top of the class battle. Third in that class were Steve Colley and Kirsty Duke, the pair over from the Isle of Man to compete this weekend. And they weren't exactly happy with how that trip was going so far. Just feeling like it was a bit untidy on the stages, a few spins not helping their cause as far as the overall times were concerned. It almost wasn't going very well at all for Christian Davies and Ethan Drodowski in Class B. They'd go through the water splash on stage 4 and clip the barrier, giving the marshals a bit of a wake-up too. Luckily, they don't do any damage, ending the morning 4th in the class. In Class C, we had Will Owen in the lead, but in 2nd place, it was Stefan Davies, Ben Duke alongside, the pair lying in 12th place overall as well at this stage. And just behind them on the times were James Garner and Jordan Joynes, that former championship-winning Darien in 15th place on the overall leaderboard as well. With Joshua Davey out in the lead of Class D, it would be 2nd in the class for Philip House and Nick Beaumont. They were actually in an overall time equal to Adrian Spencer, who was lying in 10th place. And for Jackson Willett and Jordan Mallon, it would be 3rd place in the class. They were going strongly in the Clio, just 23 seconds back from that 2nd spot. Class E would once again have a good battle going on to start the season, and it would be Daniel Poole and Laura Marshall coming away with the early lead in the class. They end the morning in 16th overall. For Ben and Andrew Wilkinson, it will be 24th position, which sounds quite a way down on the order, but in those 8 places, there were only 19 seconds separating them all. The whole entry looking to be quite close on the times through the classes, which was good to see at this early stage in the season. Third place in that class, even closer on the results, were Louis Baines and Chris Coombs. They end the morning just 2 seconds back from Wilkinson ahead. A bit more of a gap opening up in Class F between our crews here, but not much. Adam Philpotts and Sean Rowlands taking the early advantage in the class, but it was still only 29 seconds after 4 stages. That lead over the Proton pair of James Durkin and James McGough, themselves only 15 seconds of a comfort margin behind them in the class at this stage. And that gap was back to Matthew Faulkner and Liam Howard. And that could have been a little closer as well. The pair were nursing a 10-second penalty that would have closed the gap even more. So the morning's complete here at the opening round at Oulton Park. The results at the top shaping up like this. We head back out onto the varied Oulton Park stages for the afternoon session here at the opening round of the Circuit Rally Championship. And here's a look at the classes before we take a look at the overall leaderboard. There'd be no change for Matthew Faulkner and Liam Howard. They take 3rd place in Class F. There was, however, change in the other positions. 2nd place now taken by Owen and Glyn Thomas. The pair jumping up the leaderboard and into that position with a charge through the afternoon stages. And we'd also have a new leader on these former WRC stages, with previous 2nd place crew James Durkin and James McGough taking advantage of the loss of the previous class leaders to take victory this weekend. It was a different looking podium in Class E as well. We see Louis Baines drop down the order, being replaced here by Chris Woodhouse and Lucy Wilding in that position by the finish of the rally. Ben and Andrew Wilkinson, yet again without a scratch on that glorious car, would add some more penalty to their total through the afternoon, taking them up to 30 seconds. That would affect their result as well. They end the rally in 2nd, but with only 13 seconds to the class leaders. But taking victory in Class E this weekend were Daniel Poole and Laura Marshall. A strong result for the pair, who stayed out of trouble and took that class win with relative ease. No change in Class D, apart from the overall times, and we see Jackson Willett and Jordan Mallon taking the 3rd place spot in the results here at Oulton Park. In Class C, it was a similar story too. James Garner and Jordan Joins keeping hold of that place in the Darien to finish just a minute back in the class by the end of the rally. In Class B, we see a move up to 3rd place for Christian Davies and Ethan Drodowski. A good finish to the day for the Fiesta Proto pair. And what of our Manx travellers, Steve Colley and Kirsty Duke? Well, they were still struggling to keep the Evo pointing in the right direction through the afternoon stages. But despite that, things looked pretty good as far as the leaderboard was concerned. 2nd place in Class B, 16th overall to end the day. But taking the class win here were Adrian Spencer and Mark Hewitt. A 10-second penalty would cost Adrian a place overall, though, ending the day 14th and just missing out on that 13th spot to David White and Paula Hannon in their Fiesta R5. This weekend would see a very special treat for Stephen Brown and Paul Stringer. They compete here at Oulton Park in a Polo R5 instead of the Micra. And considering the lack of seat time in a car like this, things went very well indeed. It wasn't without the spins and the sideways, of course, but that showboating was surely to be expected. He does it in the Micra. The pair finished in 12th place overall. On to the top 10 then, and it will be a 10th place finish for Philip House and Nick Beaumont. They know these stages well. It was a position good enough for 2nd in Class D for the Escort pair. Finishing just ahead of them on the overall timesheets will be Stefan Davies and Ben Duke. The other Escort pair taking 2nd place in the Class C battle for themselves too. Mike and Lewis English, meanwhile, had picked up another 20-second penalty by the finish for a wrong direction on the route. They'd end the day with 8th place overall, which was still a pretty strong position to finish in. There was no challenging Will Owen and Chloe Thomas for the Class C victory, though. They held on to that for the duration of the rally, taking a pretty convincing victory in the class with 7th place overall as well. Now, you always hear us talk about how close this championship is, but you don't get much closer than this. Kyron Hankin and James Swallow would end the rally on an identical overall time to John Stone. They miss out on that position due to a countback on the stage times, finishing in equal 5th. So that means it's 4th place for John and Alex Stone. Such a close battle throughout the day. Frustratingly for the pair, they do miss out on the overall rally podium, but as far as the championship goes, that means they take 3rd place in the points, and that'll do. Just pipping the Stones to that position were Joshua and Tamsin Davey. They put in some great times, let's not forget this is not Darien weather, and finished the event just 2 seconds ahead of the polo pair by the finish of the rally, taking 4th overall, 2nd in the championship points. On to those podium positions then, and it was a well-deserved 3rd place for newcomer Ryan Burns, Harry Walshaw alongside at this end of the leaderboard at least. They had been going well all day, finishing the rally with that final step on the podium and delighted to start their winter rally season on a high. There was frustration, though, for reigning champion Michael Igoe, Will Atkins alongside. The overall event win had slipped away from them this time, finishing in 2nd place overall. But as far as the championship goes, that was maximum points to start the defence of their title this season. But taking the overall win this weekend, and perhaps wondering whether they should have registered for championship points, were James Ford and Neil Shanks. A great drive from the pair all day, and such a shame that they haven't chosen to take part in that championship battle through to the next round. So the opening round of the championship is complete. It's maximum points for Igoe with that 2nd place, and a good finish too for Davey and Stone to get their seasons and their championship campaigns underway. Next up, the crews head to Cadwell Park. Live coverage from the Lincolnshire Wolds will be available throughout the day, and we'll be back with highlights from the event around 10 days later. Meanwhile, thanks for watching the Circuit Rally Championship.